welcome all of you once again. It's Backpack on. Still, we're moving around Egypt. Sometimes we move outside Cairo to bring you more about the important sites located on the Red Sea. Some other times we travel to the historical sites to Upper Egypt. And sometimes we find out together more about Cairo. In Cairo, you have many different places to visit, whether we are talking about modern Egypt or ancient Egypt or historical sites. Sometimes you have some places to visit, like, for example, the palaces, that each palace can tell you more about the era it belongs to. In addition, of course, to the religious sites, like, for example, mosques, churches, and many other important places. Let's find out more about Cairo and more about the beautiful sites located in Cairo.
Egypt contains a large number of palaces, dating from the time of the pharaohs through the Romans, Fatimids, Mamluks, and the modern Egyptian kingdom. Today, our visit will be to the Amir Taz Palace, also known as Dar Taz, meaning the home of Taz. It is one of the most well-known Mamluk palaces remaining in historic Cairo. But who is Taz? Taz al-Nasiri was at first a Mamluk of the Muhammad Qalawun army. However, he then rose through the ranks and became the chief of council, or Amir Majlis. Amir Taz helped Salah ad-Din Saleh Muhammad Qalawun rise from the ranks and become Sultan in 752. In 755, Amir Taz, then Grand Juidar, was imprisoned only to be released and afterwards made governor of Aleppo. He was sentenced to prison a second time in 759 and yet again released in 762 due to the good relations he held with Yalbuga el-Khataki. This is a very beautiful palace. It is one of the most important places to visit. It was built by Amir Taz in 1352 to celebrate his marriage to the Sultan al-Nasir Muhammad's daughter, Khwand Zahra. However, not even his wealth and high rank could save him from falling victim to malicious conspirators and facing imprisonment on the previously mentioned occasions. For this reason, Amir Taz never got a real chance to settle into his establishment. Finally, he was forced to renounce his magnificent palace and travel in search of tranquility and peace of mind away from the city of Cairo. And this took him far from the threats he felt surrounding him in Egypt. He lived for some years in Jerusalem and then Damascus before dying in 763. This ancient palace, along with its significant complex of buildings, annexes, and gardens, were built on a huge rectangular plot overlooking a main commercial street named Ethiopia. Both the eastern and western sides of the palace are enclosed, giving it a scheduled and private atmosphere, while the whole complex is surrounded by a big stone wall keeping all its inner courtyards and quarters out of the sight of passersby. move on to the main entrance, which is located on El-Siyufiyya Street. A central portal richly decorated with stalactites flanked by two secondary arches. Today, only 3/4 of the facade and entrance are visible, as the street level has been elevated over the years, and the lower parts of the structure are now partly buried. The ground floor is occupied by craftsmen's shops. All along the facade, it has a very beautiful painted ceiling. The western and main entrance was also used as an entrance for carriages. It led directly to the central courtyard, which was also near to the stables of the complex. Though the entrance has similar features to that of the Yashbak Palace, it has a more simple style than the monumental architectural aspects of the luxurious decorative style of the other. Entrance overlooks a rather dim, narrow alley. This entrance is also characteristic for its simple architectural style. The detailed and rich decorative ornaments appear only in the interior chambers and courtyard walls of the palace. The inner courtyard of the palace has 4 entrances, 2 of which are the original ones. They are located on the east and west sides of the courtyard. In the center lies a large basin which was probably linked to a water well. During the most recent conservation project, an unexpected discovery of the water supply system was made. The system included a water wheel, aqueducts, and cisterns. This system added considerable knowledge to our understanding of water distribution system used at the time. Until this find, little was actually known about this complex matter. loggia or maq'ad is accessed from the main courtyard through a magnificent tri-lobed portico with rich masonry decorations. Although the loggia shows grand features of Mamluk style, it is however interesting to note that it was a later Ottoman addition to the palace. It was constructed in the 17th century. Nevertheless, it followed the same architectural aspects of the palace as a whole and conserves similar proportions, hence doesn't stand out as an addition to the palace. Take a look here. You will notice that the maq'ad overlooks the courtyard through 4 grand arches linked with wooden beams resting on 3 marble columns topped with impressive Corinthian capitals. The ceiling is beautifully painted, showing remains of gilded decorations and the lower inscriptions band circulating the 3 walls of the spaces. And let's take a closer look to the palace. On the first floor is the main car or hall, which follows the classic traditional design of a central durqa and 2 opposite side iwans. The 3 rounded openings of the car overlooking the courtyard were probably modified in a later period, as the original ones are noticeable. The car has 2 entrances. The main one opens onto a marble staircase, while the other leads to the private quarters of the establishment on the second level. Many of the rooms and chambers of this huge complex are in good condition and show traces of the original plaster and paintings. The bathrooms on the ground level show a beautiful ceiling, pierced vaulted and flat ceilings with cone-shaped colorful glass. was a very common feature used for illumination and as a means to help evacuate evaporated water. One of the original ceilings remaining in the palace is that of the northwest Iwan in the main car. The paintings and decorative elements show Bahri Mamluk characteristics, while the opposite Iwan seems to date back to the 15th century, as it is in relatively better condition. The palace was badly affected and suffered many structural damages when Cairo suffered an earthquake in 1992. And unfortunately, because this damage was not corrected at the time, some years later, the interiors suffered further damage, and the entrance and the car overlooking the entrance collapsed. The palace now serves as a local community center, including training in design and production of traditional carpets, and partly as an historic city museum with display of artifacts, architectural fragments, remains of ancient architectural ornaments, and display of Mamluk history periods. For those who would like more about the history of Mamluks or some information about such a period, this is one of the best places to visit, especially the Mamluk exhibition within the palace. You can see on the left detail of the ceiling in the palace, and on the right the Mamluk exhibition. One of the most important palaces to visit in Cairo. And when we talk about palaces, we have to mention that we have many different palaces. Each one belongs to a different period of time, and each one has its own architectural style. It differs from the Pharaonic to the modern to the Mamluk to many different eras. And for those who are interested in history, to learn more about culture and civilization, can visit such palaces in Egypt, not only located in Cairo, but outside Cairo as well. Here, you will learn more about culture and civilization. We will always try to bring you more about these important places here in Egypt. For those who are interested in cultural tourism. Today, our visit was here in the Amir Taj Palace, and next time we're going to bring you more about important places to visit in Egypt.
if you are looking to spend your vacation in Egypt, all what you need to do is just to put down your priorities and your needs during the vacation. If you are looking for a recreational tourism, if you are looking for some of the ancient sites, well, definitely I'm sure that you will find here in Egypt all what you are looking for. All what you need to do is just to decide on your own needs. When you visit Egypt, you will find many beautiful sites to visit. When we talk about Cairo, we have several places. These places not only reflect ancient Egypt, but also reflect modern Egypt and many, many different other eras. And each place and each building will tell you more about the era that it belongs to. That was all for now. We will be back. We'll bring you more about Egypt on our backpack.